Okay, thank you all. So I'm going to start with what happened in 2008. In 2008, I was a young banker. I was barely 2 months in the bank then. And as a young banker then, we had a lot of, targets. We were expected to meet a lot of targets. We were given very huge, and in my own opinion, they ridiculous targets to meet because I was in the sales department. Then this young guy who was working with a middle tier company used to come to the bank to deposit cash. This is the guy on the bicycle here. He used to come to deposit cash, and in the course of our interactions, we were both young. That was probably our age mates, so we got to know. We continued to engage ourselves on a daily basis. Within a short time, we noticed the guy was efficient, and he was asking us to introduce customers to him, which we eventually did. And within 5 to 6 years, the guy had become very big in what he was doing. And this was due to our own connection as bankers then, by connecting with our customers. And he was delivering to them very effectively. The guy became, one of our biggest clients within a short period of time. And I learned the lesson that do not despise the days of little beginning. And I took that to heart. In the course of our business with him, the guy became so big that getting to him became a challenge. Getting to him became a challenge, So when I told him, Oga, you are becoming too busy. You are becoming too busy for us. But he said, work and all that. Because of his attitude, we started looking for alternatives. To him. And that led us to start our own business in that same line. So down the line, the guy began to lose market share. It got so bad that if you see this third picture, when we have our meetings, he will come to us and start saying, help me with clients. I learned that as your business grows, you also need to grow in line with your business. As your career grows, you need to grow in line with your career. Because if you don't, your career or your business can outgrow you. It can become bigger than what you are able to handle. The guy became so pompous that he started losing business share. From between myself and my other colleague, the guy lost over 50 potential clients that would have come to him if he had developed himself, reinvented himself, seen beyond the immediate need that he had, and scaled up. So I made up my mind that while doing my business, which is the lesson I learned from him, that as you grow in business, as you grow in your personal life, in your career, you must keep developing to meet up the current requirements. Because if you don't, you are going to lose. Nobody waits for you, and there's nobody that's indispensable. You can start small, be competent and consistent, but there is no ceiling where you get to and feel that, okay, I've arrived. The moment you begin to have that mindset, events will overtake you and you're going to lose out. So the lesson I got from this 2008 event is that in life, in business, in family, in career, whatever you're doing, stay humble, keep learning. Don't get to a point where you feel that, maybe money comes in or influence comes in or position comes in and you think that this is the best you can be because you can do much better. This brings us to the first point, continuous learning. Just to connect that story that I spoke about, level 10 vision requires level 10 skill. You cannot build a level 10 business with a level 10 skill. What worked at launch won't work at scale. Your growth skill is a Your growth gap is a skill gap. Moving beyond the hustle starts with commitment to learning, because stagnation is the first sign of dying vision. You know, where you start, if you start at 5 and you get to 10, that 5 you use will not work for you. When you are in primary 1 and you are first in your class, if you don't study, develop yourself, get better, when you get to primary 5, because you did well in primary 1, doesn't mean that you do well in primary 5. Because you did well in your first year in your workplace, it's not a guarantee that the second, third year you're going to do well. You need to keep learning, keep improving, keep trying to get better in everything you do. Then for business people too, that you start a business and it succeeds this year, it's not automatic that it's going to succeed next year. You know? So these are some of the lessons you need to learn. Secondly, with the same case, with the same issue, there was an issue that happened that year. A guy called me that he needed a client. You know, so I introduced him to this same guy we spoke about. He treated him very well. But in the course of the years, they started complaining that this guy is too big, he's too big for us, doesn't pick our calls, he doesn't answer us, he's too big for us. And I learned that some people have a very limited vision of their lives. They just want to, they just want to have a car or buy a house. Once they achieve that, they are okay. You know, they don't aspire to do better than that. Maybe because in their mind, they never thought they would get to that level. So it's like they've gotten to a law of diminishing return. You know, so before you know it, if you get to a law of diminishing, what happens is that you begin to go down. So if you don't keep learning, keep reinventing yourself, you know, learning, unlearning, and relearning within the marketplace, within your business, what happens is that you plateau and you begin to decline. So it's important that we know that in life, in business, in relationships, where you start, the resources you had when you started is not sufficient for the next level. So that's the vision we must have, that what you start with 1 doesn't mean that at the 10th year you still continue using that. So it's important we keep scaling, you know, to ensure that we get better. You know, there's a quote I put the other day. I said, relationships aren't about equal effort, but equal value. The moment one person feels they are giving more than they are receiving, the relationship begins to die. What this means is that when you are engaged in people in your workplace, in your partnerships, in what you have in your career, in your business, the effort in keeping that relationship, in getting that client, must seem to be equal. You know, because the person must feel that this guy is putting in his best for me. He's speaking for me when I'm not there. He has my back. The moment the person feels otherwise, you begin to lose out. I remember a situation where I was in the bank. You know, somebody came to one of my colleagues and told her that his friend told him that the bank gives concession on, you know, some figure, say concession on, maybe they reduce your interest and all that for when you do transfers. And the guy did not tell the customer. So the customer felt that this guy doesn't have my back. So the guy eventually moved his money. You know? So it's important that as human beings, when you are in your workplace, your effort must be seen to be equal. You know, so your value must be seen to be equal. You know, because efforts vary based on capacity, but that value it's important it's seen to be equal so that the person doesn't feel cheated or left out. Because the moment people begin to feel that they're not getting as much as they are giving to you, the business begins to die, the relationships begin to die, and eventually you lose out of that. So it's important that you recognizing that people relevant for point A are not relevant for point B. So it's good you scale up. So we're talking about structure and empowerment, building the machine. If it's not documented, it's not a hobby, it's a hobby. Hustle is when you do everything. Scaling is when the system works without you. A chain of command isn't about bureaucracy, it's about clarity. Give your team the why and let them own the how. Stop trading sweat for skill. So what this is saying is that you must put structure in place. And structure doesn't have to be very complicated. You have to document things. It can be as simple as somebody comes to you, you collect his number and save it. It can be that simple. It doesn't have to be, because when you are, if your business or some part of your work cannot move forward when you are not there, then there's a problem. Even in the office, if you are not in the office and you have some jobs and somebody needs to take over from you, is it going to be easy for that person to handle? Are you coordinated? Are you organized? Can you give the person the relevant information that they need to keep running till you come back? Or is it going to be so stressful for that person that they wonder what kind of person is this that I work with? So it's important that we have structure. The art, must be able to be structured in such a way that when you are engaging people, when you are dealing with people, it's easy for them to relate with you. It can be as easy as saving a phone number so that the next time you have to call that person, you don't have to start looking for it. I had an experience with a client of mine in the bank consistently. This guy, this job he did, every week he used to do it every week for like 10 years. He did it every week. And it was simple. He should write an instruction and send to the bank. And there was some information that I always needed on that. But the guy, so excuse me, I think I'm getting feedback that I'm having issue with my speaker. So just give me a few minutes. Let me try and sort it out, please. I'm having issue with the speaker. Okay, please let me just sort it out, please. 1 second. Please 1 second. Let me see if I can sort it out. Oh. Oh. Okay. Where you put my phone? 1 second, please. Why this thing? Oh. Okay. Hmm? Can you hear? Is it better? Can you hear me? Is it better?
Yes, we can.
Is it better?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I think
Better now, right?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much.
It's perfect. Okay. Sorry for this. I don't know what came over this stuff, but I'm glad that it's better now. It's better, right?
Yes, that's okay.
Okay. Sorry about that. Let me just. Okay. So as I was saying, I was given a situation where the guy's job was a daily routine. He was supposed to write a letter to the bank and put some key information. But it was every day he would ask me for this same information. Please, can you send me this? I think this is what it was. I was ridiculous to me because this is what you do every day. Why don't you save it on your system? You know, every day he would ask me, I beg, quickly send me this. He said, quickly send me this and all that. So I told him, save this thing on your phone. And a time came where I was not available. Is this acting? Is it okay? It's still echoing. Okay. I heard this. Bring my phone, sorry. I heard this.
Yeah,
I
it's
heard my.
still echoing.
It's
It's
still echoing.
echoing.
Okay, just
Yeah,
hold
it's
on.
echoing.
Okay, just let me sort it out 1 second, please. Just give me a minute. I'm very. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to. Let me see if I move it. Can you hear me?
Yeah, better now.
You can hear me, right? Okay, let me use mine. Okay, it's better. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah,
I
and no
just
more echo. No more echo.
yeah. So as I was saying, this guy, his job, his daily routine was send a letter to the bank. There are some certain information that was required there, But each day he will ask me for that information. And I told him, save this thing on your phone. This is the structure we're talking about. This guy did not do it for years. Then in particular, I was not around. He was so much under pressure. They lost about $10,000 because of that. And I told him, he now wanted to put the blame on me. I told him that, oh God, this thing, I told you to save this in every day. This is not even my responsibility, it's your own. So if you don't have structure within your own self, what you can control, you are going to be very inefficient as a human being. We're not talking of large scale where people manage companies' projects, just a simple letter to the bank that is something that is an operational issue. You are not able to handle it. And it cost the company $10,000 to $15,000 just because somebody refused to document something that is so easy to do, right? So easy to do. So it's important that if you don't document it, it's just like a hobby. Even as easy as a client that you engage all the time. Some people don't save people's number. Meanwhile, you are doing business with the person. Then the day the person calls you, you say, who is this? Who is speaking? Meanwhile, the person has given you business maybe 2 or 3 times. The person will say, this person is not a serious person. No. You must document things. Your business partner, your colleagues, you don't save their number. Then the day the person calls you, you say, who is speaking? The person will say, I've given you business 2 or 3 times. You're asking me who is speaking. He might not tell you, but the person might just move on. So it's important that beyond the hustle, after making all the effort to get that job, after making all the effort to build that your business, these little things, as easy as they may seem, has cost people a lot of things. Attitude, nonchalance, little things here and there. Those basic things that when you do helps you get better. People don't do it. Then they wonder why they don't get better at their jobs or in their businesses, or why their businesses are not doing as much as possible. So it's important that we document things, we keep things going. So I want to give you, so they call it the Houston big girl story. When we first moved to Houston, of course, we were looking for vendors that we could work with. So, excuse me. So there's this woman that does, one of the vendors that we work with. The first day I met her, I know we engaged, I knew that this one, we can't work with this person. And some people feel that they've arrived, and they say customer is king. No matter how highly pleased you are, no matter how much you've achieved in life, no matter what you think you have, provided somebody is paying you for a service, that somebody, no matter how, it doesn't matter if it's $1, 10 naira, 1 million, you must be available. You must show commitment. You must show the person that the person is valuable, that the person is important. So when engaged her, she just and that's those kind of people. If you don't buy, somebody else will buy. If you don't buy, beg, somebody else will buy. And what most such people don't know is that it might take a while, but surely you are going to lose a huge share of your market share. And what happens is that you started sourcing for other people. We got other people. And when you engage people and they ask you, do you know anybody that does this kind of thing? You will say, nobody likes to recommend a bad service. So what automatically happens is that you say, I know somebody else. Don't use this person. Don't use this man. Don't use this woman. So you've lost one customer. And that one customer can become 10, can become 50. It might take 10 years. Before you know it, you are out of business. In your workplace, you have a bad character. When people talk to you, you say, I beg, you talk to clients anyhow, you talk to your colleagues anyhow. Gradually, people begin to know you with such attitude. And before you know it, you are losing out on business, on key relationships. So no matter how thriving your business is, no matter how thriving you think your business is, you must know that the customer, the client is very important. One person can mess you up. One client can mar you. One colleague can cause you problem. Back to the 2008 story. When I first started, I said the guy was doing well. He started well. He scaled up, but I think he became too pompous. And the feedback from customers was that this guy is too big for us, doesn't answer our calls and all that. Then my colleague that introduced the customer to the bank told me something. He said that, do you know that I can tell those clients that we introduce to them that they should not use this guy again? And they will stop because they will trust their banker rather than the clients. He can decide to tell them that this guy is not trustworthy. And the person, he will just wonder why he has lost business. So as much as, you do your work, beyond the hustle, beyond your competence, beyond knowing your work, beyond understanding your business, these behaviors can be what can either scale you up or mar you. I have countless examples of how people have lost out because of some of these little things that they refuse to embrace and understand. And when you start a business, just like I said in the beginning, the year you start, the information you have in year 1 is not going to take you to year 5. The environment you are in year 1, if you move from Lagos to Ilorin, you have to learn the way business is done in Ilorin because it might not be the same. The people's culture is not exactly the same. So you must understand those things to help you to navigate the challenges that will come as you do your business or in your workplace. If you move to a new environment for work, you must try and understand the culture of that office so that you're able to align with what is happening there. Not necessarily eye service, but at least you know how things are done here. Don't come and say, this is the way I do my things. Either in business or personal life, it doesn't work. Even in marriage, for those of us that are married, you can't just say this is the way I do my things. You must consider the other person, the other party in whatever you are doing. So I want to go to the mirror test, the attitude war. Look in the mirror before you look at the market. Before you look at that client and say, this guy is not doing well, these people they don't know what they are doing. Before you look at your colleague and say, or your oga and say, this person, they always act in a certain way. Look at yourself first. Look at yourself. Analyze yourself, examine yourself and see, is there anything that I can do better? Is it possible that I am the problem? Because he said that the invisible wall holding your business back may be you. If growth has stopped, check your attitude. Because a toxic leader creates a ceiling for everyone below. if you have a toxic attitude, toxic behavior, or nonchalant behavior, it might not even be toxic, it might just be nonchalant. It affects anything you are doing without your knowing. You know, you might think you are the best at what you're, but you might be the one hindering your business. Let me give some two or three examples. I had a colleague in the bank, exceptional lady. Her customer service was impeccable. When clients come, they will say, this lady, they always ask for her. Where is this lady? Is she around? Because she understood how to engage people. And over the years, of course, the bank will hear, everybody will know that this lady has a positive attitude. Eventually, of course, she moved to the marketing side, and automatically people will move to her and give her business and all that. You know, even after leaving the bank, you see that positive mindset in where she has moved to. So people must know you with a positive attitude, the attitude wall. If it's negative, it's going to affect you, it's going to affect your business, it's going to affect your job. It can even affect you personally. You know, another example I have is there's a client that opened a business, maybe 8 or 9 years ago now, right? So we're engaging. The first day I went to her store, she was so nasty, feelings on top of the world. In my mind, I said, see somebody that is into hospitality business with this attitude. After I just did what I needed to do and moved on. I came we're giving them POS machines at one point in time. So I got there one day with the POS team, and the woman was talking to a client, somebody that came to eat, that you should get out of here. How much do you have? How much are you buying? I was shocked. You own a restaurant, people are coming to eat there with their money. You are telling a customer that you should get out. How much is he spending in your restaurant? Of course, it's a no-brainer. In less than 2 years, the woman had packed up. I was happy, not because I was happy not because the restaurant shut down. I was happy because I knew from day one that the consequence of this kind of behavior is death to your business. So I was happy because it means that I knew some information, because there's a way you behave, and this will be the end. Just like when elders tell you, they said, what an elder sees sitting down, when your child goes to the mountaintop, he will not see it. So I knew that it's not possible that you behave like this and your business is not possible, especially in hospitality business. Are you doing one that sells food? It's not so. I learned a lesson that attitude, the woman might be saying she's not selling, not looking at herself, that she was the problem. You know, so she needed to scale up, learn more about business, learn about patience, tolerance, customer relationship, customer service, how to engage people, because people have different skill sets. She might not have had it naturally. And it comes to the point that before you start anything, check your temperament. Do I think I have the temperament for this kind of thing? Don't just wake up because people are selling hair, you want to sell hair, or people are doing business, everybody's doing TikTok live, you want to join. So you must check your attitude, develop it, improve it before you go into any kind of business. There are some colleagues that I had then. This lady, I would say she's the worst behaved human being I've seen in my life. This, as a sane human being, not somebody that is mentally unstable, a normal human being, the attitude is in negative. And this person was in customer service. Customer will come, she will say, get out. Talk to people anyhow. In the bank, it was unbelievable to us. Because after a while, people started thinking that maybe this girl is not mentally okay. But eventually, you found out she was mentally okay. But obviously, after a while, they had to move her from one place to another. Nobody wanted to take her again. Of course, eventually, she had to be let go. And I remember a situation where it happened. One of my clients and friend, 𝗕𝗲𝘆cie, she was engaging. I was engaging her one time. She was just talking about PA, just talking about getting a PA and all that. Then I was on phone, so the lady overheard me. She said, it's 𝗕𝗲𝘆, please introduce me to her. I said, introduce who to who? With this your dead attitude. Of course, I told her there's no how. So See, an opportunity even came for people to. So when an opportunity comes for you to skill up, you can lose that opportunity because of your attitude. Because of your attitude to work. It doesn't have to be that bad. It can just be as simple as not picking calls. I had a colleague that never picked her calls. It will nearly run you mad because you are trying to reach this person to pass an information. You're on your own. Customers will complain, clients will complain, everybody will complain. Unreachable. The phone is not that the phone is not, she doesn't pick it. And she will say, I have my phone here. So eventually, people will start moving away from you. Customers will start, because people, nobody wants stress in their life. They don't look for the easier part when they go there. So what happens is that eventually, I start getting some of her, from her customers start coming to me, going to my colleagues. And eventually, when they have new businesses, they will give it to me and the other guy. So you are losing out because of your attitude. So you must see it as a problem. When somebody tells you, this is you are doing is not good, don't say, I beg. So this way, these are the walls we are talking about. That beyond the hustle, beyond knowing your work, beyond doing your business, these little things can mess you up and hold you bound. You might be praying for years and nothing will change because you are the problem. We must prioritize thinking, respect, humility, change. It must be something that is at the back of your mind. I must do this every day to get better. So somebody said a quote, the greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitude. As simple as that is, that's the greatest discovery he found out, is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitude, which is so true. One of the things that I always tell my people, maybe when I'm engaging my friends, is that your attitude determines how far you go. Let me give an example. Maybe you want to lose some weight, go to the gym and all these things. If you change that attitude of eating and you begin to go to the gym, which is not an easy thing, it will alter your life. If you want to start a new course, new career, you want to learn a new skill, your attitude can alter your life. That decision you want to make, the attitude you decide to embrace, can make it either possible or not. So as simple as this statement, it is so true for everything in life. Somebody said that the greatest victory is the victory over self. Most of the times, it lies within us to do that which we want to do, either good or bad. So in 2016, I spent about, I think 8 years in the bank or so, about 8 years in the bank. And I was getting tired, I was getting fed up. Even though I was still putting in my best, I started thinking of other things I could do. So I ventured into, business I was trying to become a contractor to Shell. Eventually, I was able to, I was appointed as one of their vendors, But for 2 years, nothing, I didn't get any transaction from them. I was so hopeful. So the thing really put me down, and I felt a bit down, but so I was just telling myself, I wrote a song called Champion, just to encourage myself, that you have to keep pushing. The song just came to me because once in a while, at times I just think of writing songs, writing poems and all that. So I wrote this song. This song is about, there are sometimes you feel lonely, sometimes you feel down, but it only shows that we are humans. We make mistakes. But every day, we can get better if we continue pushing. It says, there are some times when you're feeling lonely. Then some other times you're feeling high. It just only shows that we are human. We make mistakes, but we learn to live every day, fighting to win. I am a champion. You are a champion too. We are champions today, every day. So you see that you are a champion. I was telling myself I'm a champion. There are some days you feel lonely, some days you feel high, but just know that you are only human. You can make mistakes, but we live, we rise up to get better. So I want to play the song for a few minutes. I just sang it so that you know that it's not AI. That is me that sang the song. So we can play it now.
Mistakes, but we learn to live every day, fighting to win. I am a champion. You are a champion. We are champions today and every day. A new day. Yesterday is gone, today has come. Leave your past behind and see tomorrow. 'Cause every day is a new day. So make it count for you in your life. You are the champion today. Yet to come, and you will surely win. Champions, champions, champions. I see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, so it just says, there's a part that says that even when you think your life hasn't gone the way you planned, you just have to know that things can change. Don't give up. Hold on, keep pushing. So even when you feel that you've discovered that stuff that is delaying you from going to the next level, maybe you have a challenge of, engaging people, keeping in touch, attitude, whatever it is, but you've recognized it, right? It means that if you keep working on it, it keeps getting better. If you keep working on it, it can improve and get better. Only a dead person cannot change. Once you are alive, there's an opportunity for you to get better. There's an opportunity for you to improve and, scale up and get better in what you do. In your work, in your business, in life, in family, whatever you do, you are a champion. Once you keep pushing, you can always get better. That's the good news in all this. It's not a lost cause. Once you identify the issue or the loophole or the area that needs improvement and you keep working at it, because there's no perfect person. It means that there's hope for you to get better at what you do. So we're talking about retaining clients beyond the transaction. We've spoken a lot about it. You've gotten the job. You have the clients. How do you keep those people? Because that's the most important thing. Somebody can just see you and decide to try you for a job. But if you don't do it well, you don't get the customer back. There's no repeat customer. The joy of any business work person is that when you use somebody, they come back. They use you again. They keep using you and giving you other people too. And that's the way businesses grow, because, people must speak on your behalf when you are not there. That's when you know that you are beginning to do the right things. So short-term profits hide long-term stagnation. Some people, they say you should prioritize sustainable growth over immediate gains. Some people just want to make money. Let me make this money, and they don't care what happens. They collect the money and deliver mediocre work, and they move on, forgetting that money you collected, you can get 100 times of that money if you treat that person well, if you do it well. So that short-term profit that they're going to get today, it's going to it's just going to cause you long-term stagnation. Over time, you begin to diminish, you cannot move forward. If they give you a job to do at work or whatever, and you are not someone that does a thorough job, over time, people will know you, even your bosses will know that this guy doesn't put his mind to anything. They start looking for other people to give that work, and eventually you are moved to the background, right? So it's good that we look at see the big picture. Everything is not about money today. And sometimes people even have to do things for free just to gain some kind of access, so everything is not always money. Then disrespected clients quickly disengage. Lack of respect and empathy erodes client trust and engagement. We all know that if nobody likes to be disrespected, especially when your money is involved. So if you don't know how to speak to people, you don't know how to engage customers, you don't know how to engage your clients, your colleagues, in business, in life, if people see it as disrespect, over time, nobody wants to deal with people that don't know how to behave well, So when they see it as lack of respect, you don't have empathy for people. You don't know when to speak, when not to speak. You don't gauge the environment before you speak. You just say, I beg, I can say whatever I like. Over time, you begin to lose people, and when you begin to lose clients in business or personal life, what happens is that you're out of job before you know it. So it's important that you build respect into your daily life. It can even be disrespected through even email. You can send somebody an email that is nasty. So it doesn't have to be physical. Some people, even by not picking their call, they see it as disrespect. Maybe they call you back, you don't pick. Maybe depending on the person's status in society, some people see those things as an issue. So you must know your client, you must understand your environment. Some people, if you don't put chief in their name, it's a problem. I remember one of my colleagues was telling me about an account that they opened. The man's name was Chief Engineer something, So when they opened the account, they put Engineer XYZ, and they sent him his checkbook. The man was so livid. Now, how can this disrespect him like that? He's going to close his account. They had to involve one of our senior officers then, I think the GM also, to appease the man, and we had to redo it and change it and put chief in his name. Some people might see it as mundane, but that is who he is, right? So you have to understand the people you deal with and treat them alike. Why do you in the form you put chief? Why didn't you put the chief there? So it's important that we understand people and don't just assume. I'm sure it might have been a mistake, but that mistake nearly cost us the business, the customer's business. So it's important that you gauge the environment, know who you are dealing with and all that. It's still tied to the next point that says respect build lasting relationship and refers. I know how I've benefited from one client that has, over the years given us other people, because you respect those people. You are there for them. You show you are competent. And once people see that you are competent and respect, they will begin to tell people, use that person, so that's the way it works. So beyond the hustle, beyond getting the job, beyond building your business, this is the way to scale it up. If you like, have the biggest store in Alaba market, right? If you have but over time, people begin to use other people. It takes time for some people. Some people shorter than others, but eventually it catches up with you. So, and you won't get, nobody will refer you to somebody. Let me give you an instance. Somebody wanted me to refer him to a good mechanic, I have a mechanic that I use. The guy, I'm able to manage him, but the person that asked me for that mechanic was somebody I really respected. I had to start thinking, is it this kind of guy I want to give to this man? I had to ask my guy for his own mechanic that he trusted more, that had a good attitude, and I referred the customer to that guy. So you see that guy has lost one client because of certain behaviors he had. So it's important that we keep improving our attitude, keep trying to get better. The moment you identify it, some people don't even see it. Some people will not even hear when you tell them. That's where the main issue comes. That's why we're having these discussions to engage people, to begin to open your eyes to look within the lines and say, okay, I might be falling into one of these or not. You never know. Finally, on this point, humility and expertise makes you the go-to choice. So imagine that you are humble and you know your work and you are competent. The sky will just be the beginning for you. So it's important that we begin to understand some of the things that can hinder our growth in business and in life and in career. Beyond, some people, it's their own problem. I know one lady, so incompetent. If today she's in one church, she will leave work and go to church program. She will not do her work. When the business is going, she will come and say, I bind everybody. Meanwhile, she doesn't do the work. So putting blame on somebody else. So it's important that we understand all this, and I hope that we are learning and it's going to help us as we move forward. Then let me just quickly be running on this one, the bedrock, the integrity rule. Reputation is a lifetime. Revenue is today. That reputation, that when they say, the Bible says that a good name is better than silver and gold, it's true. People don't forget. Money, people are making money. They will give example of some politicians that are eating money and they are doing well. I say, you don't know what you're talking about. A good name lives after you. A good name lives when you are gone, is there. A good name lives even beyond your existence on earth. Integrity is a non-negotiable. Trust takes years to earn and seconds to lose. Your word is your only real collateral. Let your yes be yes, as they say. You must build integrity into your work. Let people know you for this, that when this guy says this is what he's going to do. People take integrity for granted, but it opens doors that when you're not even there. When people are looking for people of integrity, they know. Even some of these people, you feel that they don't care about their name. When they are looking for people that matter, they know who to go to. So it's important that we know we have integrity in the little things. As simple as, I'll do this, you get it done. If you can't get it done, you tell the person, this thing is not going as planned. Can we adjust it? You are supposed to call somebody. I can't meet up. Sorry, I can't meet up now. Can we talk in under 2 hours? Gradually, you are building integrity and trust. The person knows that, okay, this person, this is the way he is. So the day that you don't call, the person will want, this guy, something might be wrong, right? So that's just an example, but you know what I mean. The point is that your word must be your bond. You must try it. There is this, I know most of us know Dr. Cosmos Maduka, the Coscharis man. There's a story that was online about 12 years ago. It was a big deal. It's the 200 million deal. It was an integrity test for him. And at the end of the day, the man said that you never know who you are until you know what you can do. And you can only know who you are when no one will find out and you still do the right thing. When nobody will find out and you still do what is expected of you. He had a deal with one big businessman in Nigeria about 12 years ago. So, and he was I think a major shareholder in either Access Bank or Fidelity Bank. The young man came to him and told him that there's a business transaction they're supposed to do, right? So it's about $200 million. The man that came to him didn't have the capacity to access this kind of funds. So Dr. Cosmos now told the bank, give him give him that, just go ahead, process this for him. So based on his own integrity of word of mouth, no documentation signed, the bank gave that man the $200 million. And to cut the long story short, the money, somehow the business didn't work out. So the bank was in debt of $200 million. They needed their money back. Cosmos, the man said that he did not sign any documents. So he would have as well left them to follow up with the man. They chased the man. The man could not even pay the money. He was even trying to find a way to dodge. So Dr. Cosmos had a meeting with the board members and they discussed a lot of things and all that. He now asked himself a question that he knows that he said, I know I did not sign any document to give to the bank to give this man this loan, but if I did not put in a word, would they have given this man the loan? Of course, the answer to that question was no. So he said that it means that it is me that they gave that money to. He said that was the most challenging test he has had in his life. He knew that if he did not sign it, nobody would blame him. But eventually, what happened is that he said he wrote to his bank and liquidated some of his assets and paid that $200 million. He said it was so difficult. But he now said, fine, that you never know who you are until you know what you can do. And you can only know who you are when no one will find out and you still do the right thing. This amount might be big, but your own might be small amounts. But the point is that your word should be your bond. There are people that come to you and say, I bet find me 10K. Once you give them 10K, they vamoose, they don't come back. They never pay back. Those little things, it shows your kind of person. You tell somebody, do this thing, I will give you back. And you never give it back. Over time, the day you really need, I have someone that comes to me like that, about find me 10K, find me 20K. They will just move on. Then the day he really needed money for a transaction, I said about 2 million, 3 million. Of course, I will say in my mind, if this guy did not give me back my 10K, this 2 million, he will give it back to me. So you lose integrity, you lose capital, human capital, which is very important. I had another customer that said he accesses up to $200 million from HP. HP is this computer people in America. He's in Nigeria. Without any, just because of his integrity, they give him $50 million worth of goods, worth of software to sell and return back. That is better than physical money, right? Based on your word, they say, take this, go and say, whenever you sell it, you give it back to us. So integrity and a good name is very important in life and whatever you do. So it's important we understand all these things and keep it at the back of our mind. In your business, in your work, let people know that this is the way this guy is. When he says this is the way he does it. When he says this way he does it. In your personal life, you must be known to, you must be seen to be somebody that when you say something, you do it that same way. And these are what takes us beyond the hustle, beyond the struggle, beyond, at times you might be an excellent person in your work, but these little things can be what is actually hindering you from moving to the next level. There's something I quoted, it said, in relationship where love exists, though not reciprocated, it is illegal to refuse to pinpoint wrong for the fear of breakup. In business relations, in your job, even though where you love somebody or you are doing your work, you understand your work, but the other person doesn't understand the way you understand it, or the other person, you feel you'll be offended, or the other person is doing it the other way around. You see a wrong, you must still find a way to pass it across. Don't say, if I say it now, something will happen. No. Provided that thing you are saying is going to benefit that person and also benefit your work or your business or whatever. Don't just leave it and say, I beg. It's up to that person, because eventually it's going to affect you. We must learn to speak the truth and also have integrity as people when we are engaging people. So you don't just leave it because you are afraid that if I say this truth now, it might affect maybe our relationship or something or the business. But it's important you say it if that is what it is. It's important you say if that is what it is. Yeah, so as we finalize, I just want to run to the cautionary tale, adapt or die. I'm sure we all know Nokia, BlackBerry, and all that. There was a time BlackBerry, if you do not have a BBM pin, you did not know what's happening in town. Nokia to Nokia 3310. There was time in the 2000s, Nokia was the biggest phone then. The same for BlackBerry. What did BlackBerry do? They didn't, the most dangerous phase in business is we've always done it this way. Success blind complacency. And this is the way we do it too. When change comes, you see, I'm not part of the change. BlackBerry, when Android came out and all that, iPhone came out, they felt, they have a big deal. What was the big deal? What was the worst that can happen? They insisted on staying the way they continue doing the work the way they used to do it. They did not adapt. And today we know what happened. They came in too late. They now started doing the apps and all, but it was already too late. For Nokia, when the Windows came out, Apple and all this, they refused to adapt. They felt Nokia is too big now. This is the way we do it. Has always worked that way. And eventually they lost out. About a week ago, my wife and I went to buy a phone, an iPhone. And I noticed that in the experience center, the iPhone center, somebody was talking about, I think Apple intelligence. And I noticed that it was on a big screen. I noticed that they were using ChatGPT for that. I told myself, okay, this will be the woken up. In the past, Apple doesn't used to collaborate with anybody. They like to do their own things there. But they've noticed that if you don't adapt, you're going to die. So they are in partnership with ChatGPT now. When you ask a question, instead of going online, it works on that app. I think from iPhone 15 Pro Max, so that's when they work. So they've learned from the lessons of these other people that you must change, otherwise you die. The last slide, I think this is the last slide. We have to listen, adjust, proceed, or you evaporate. Information without action is useless. All these things I've said now, if you don't act on it, it's useless. Feedback drives growth. Even as I've spoken now, feedback, when I ask for people who give their own feedback, it helps. So next time I can also get better. Don't assume, ask customers. Scaling isn't a long-term plan. It's a constant cycle of learning, adapting, and executing. You keep learning. It's a cycle. You keep at it daily, every day. You listen, you adjust, you proceed. If you don't, you evaporate. So we must learn to adapt. Information that you get, you must use it. There's so much information. If you don't use it, it's useless. There are some people, I know people that buy books, they just keep it, they never read it. So it's useless. Just like they said, someone that can read but does not read is not better than someone that cannot read at all. So if you have information and you don't use it, it's as good as not having the information. Information without action is useless, right? So it's important that when you learn something, you try to apply it. You analyze, how does this thing benefit me? How can it make me better? You take the feedback and apply it to your life, because there's room for improvement for everybody. No matter the level you are in life, there's opportunity for you to still go higher. So it's important that we listen. It's important that we listen and do it. In this, my tweet, I said, it's not about staying on top today, but about learning and changing as the world changes. The world is changing. Now, a lot of people are doing online. Even the CEOs, big people, they are now doing content creation. Someone like Tony Lumenu is always doing, because you think it's just that he just likes to do. He's trying to adapt to what's happening. He does a lot of content. Some big people, even, I know there's this comedian, Basketman, maybe it's a joke to say, but he said, now he's forced to do content now for his shows, dancing and all those things, because that is what is expected now. If you don't adapt to the changes, people will just move on. So you might be at the top, but if you don't adapt, gradually people will overtake you. At your job, you need to do courses, take certifications, do one or two trainings to keep you abreast of what is happening in your work, so that you can get better. Then in businesses, I've noticed that, many Nigerian businesses, especially the people that started between maybe 2 to 10 years, most of them, they just come out because there is no work. They just start a business, hair business, salon, restaurant, whatever it might be. And they don't, in the course of that job. Try to learn new things in go for training, customer service, relationship management. Maybe the core of they don't assume that I've started a business, and you see it in the businesses when you engage them, you see that there's a lot of gaps. It's beyond having a business, it's beyond having a job. How do you, beyond that hustle, how are you able to remain relevant, scale up your business so that you don't lose that? That's why you see after a while, they said in Nigeria, in the first most 80% or 90% of businesses die in the first 3 years. And that is part of the reason. People don't learn, people don't unlearn, people don't relearn. You know, somebody might have worked in the bank for 15 years, then you start a business, you say, I know it's not marketing, I know how to sell. Meanwhile, it's a different industry. You just assume, take the knowledge from the 15 years and bring it. It will not work, or it may not work. So you have to keep reinventing to stay at the top. So I want to thank everyone for this meeting, for joining us, for your time. I know people are busy. This is weekend. So thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it. So if you have any questions, contributions, I just posted my link to my Instagram, my YouTube, all my channels there, WhatsApp channel, X, Twitter channel. So you can just follow me on all those. But if you have any questions, you can just ask, or any contribution too, because, you know, like I said, the last one, the feedback loop, so that even me, I can also get better in what I'm doing. Thank you.
Hello, thank you, Yudi. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Very fantastic. Fantastic. You covered a lot of areas. Okay. The area I want to, it's more or less like a question, because I'm in the FMCG industry and sales, and I do a lot of recruitment, a lot of recruitment for my company and training and all that. But I've one big challenge that I have is when you hire people, we have issues of integrity. Eventually, you discover that people don't have integrity, and in fact, when I do interviews, sometimes I even delve into the spiritual, ask questions about faith and everything, just to have an insight into the person I'm recruiting. But it has become a challenge. Every month we're having somebody stealing, somebody not reconciling the accounts, and it has become a major challenge for me. So I want to ask, how do we instill that virtue of integrity in people? Because it's like an average Nigerian is a very dishonest person. I'm sorry to say that, but that is my own experience. So from your own experience as a business person over the years as a banker, what values, how do we instill that virtue of integrity in people? And how are you able to discern people who have integrity before you even recruit them? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much for that question. I remember that as a client, we had a big customer, doing quite well in business. He came to us and asked for a loan. There was a particular loan that the bank was doing then. And I was skeptical on giving him the loan, but my superior said we should give it to him. I didn't know this guy is a big guy, one thing. So they gave him the loan. And a small amount, he paid that one off quickly. Then he asked for a massive amount, about 10 times that amount, and we gave it to him. And he never paid back. This is somebody that used to come to the bank maybe 4 times a week. He stopped coming completely. For 1 year, we did not see him. I go pay. So I learned something, and it was across board, even from my other colleagues around the same industry, that most people, many Nigerians don't have integrity, right? And it's human nature, really. He said, Fidel Castro said that in a state of lawlessness, that it is illegal to be law-abiding. So when you see where systems work, these where systems come to play, in America, UK, and all those things, why people don't default is not because they love not to default. It's a system that is in place that has consequences for action, right? So when we gave that loan, there was no security and the man defaulted. So that's why you see when banks give loan, they say collateral and this one, that one, right? So human nature, and especially with our environment in Nigeria, people tend to abuse it. So it's a difficult thing to answer, but there are still people that have integrity. It has to do with putting checks. What will be the consequence for that action? Why banks don't have a lot of fraud is that there are checks in place. Auditors, before you do something, somebody will check it, and that person, if he doesn't do it, he will lose his job. So they put checks in place to ensure that people do the right things. So, and it also depends on the quality of people that you are talking about. If you just meet somebody on the roadside, no education, I'm just saying, for instance, I don't know the level of education, they are paying 20,000 naira. Those people don't care about anything. But in general, people don't, except there are consequences for action. Checks and balances is what is gonna keep people from defrauding. If you are the only one that starts the process from start to finish, afterwards you will start thinking, it means like you see the loopholes. The human being sees the loopholes and say, let me capitalize on this thing, right? But it's something you are discerning, because that's I knew there must discernment. Then also there must be system in place to check these things that prevent people from stealing. And if they do, what is the consequence of that? If people know that eventually when they steal, like I'm just saying, for instance, or they defraud, or they are nonchalant, there's consequence for it. There's a chance that people will begin to align. But that system is very important. It's very important that people have systems in place.
When you talk of systems,
yes,
talk of systems, there's also, even when you put the right system, you have the right fear of consequences.
Yeah.
You see people who say, what that will happen? Let's go to the police. For them, taking them to the police is not even scary. They're not even scared of being locked. They feel it will go and come out. That kind of thing. It's just for, like the system talked about, maybe we have to limit the risk. More or less. You understand?
Yes.
Limit the risk that is taken concerning it. But it's about consequences and all that. I'm telling you, there are a lot of people that don't even really care. But thank you for your time. Thank you for that answer.
Yeah, thank you. So, if anybody want to speak before we? Okay. I think nobody has any other questions. So.
I actually wanted to say something.
Okay.
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much for how you have put so many things to mind in this session of yours. I was almost engaging in something else, and my calendar just beeped up, and I snoozed it again, and I was like, I know I needed to come in for this session of yours. I must say it's highly important for some people like us who are who are entrepreneurs and trying to scale up in business, and of course, with the toxic Nigeria economic crisis right now. I just want to take back to what the last contributor was trying to talk about, dishonest persons in business and in recruitment. I hope I'm audible enough.
Yes, I can. Yes.
Yeah. There's dishonest persons in business, and how to and of course how you can checkmate them by putting systems in place. Now, let me go back to your statement you made mention in regards to Fidel Castro, that you said in a state of lawlessness, it's illegal to be law-abiding. That is true. That is highly true. And somehow, as a Nigerian, and back to what we do here in Nigeria, it's so sad that I find it. I call this our leaders. I call them boys. Why I call them boys is because they are not fathers, they are not leaders. Because fathers and leaders have one priority, and that priority is legacy. What happens after I am no more? How would my family fare? What will happen? Are you sure my name will be kept? Are you sure? Well, that's their fears. They don't want their fears to come alive. And by so doing, they try as much as possible to put things in place. You cannot be corrupt and expect things to work. You cannot stifle money that is meant to appropriate the country and put the country in the right direction, and you expect the country to work in 1, 2, 3, 10 years and even more in long term. So there are a whole lot of dishonest persons in Nigeria, sir. There are a whole lot of dishonest persons in Nigeria, such that you are honest enough, you will not have the opportunity to have what it takes to scale up in your business and to grow. You understand? You will not have what it takes to scale up your business to grow. So these facts, all these highlights, or rather all these points you've highlighted, it's a great feature to see that one transgress over time, transit over time in doing well in their business. But then again, it will come to play if the environment is not toxic, if the environment is not stifling your efforts. Like in Nigeria right here now, to be honest with you, it's to be standing right now in Nigeria in business or in anything that you do that is of public servo, right? It is a great honor if you play it right. Because, like for example, I have this customer of mine that is into foams. Okay, he's a distributor for majority of most of these foam dealer. Would I say for foam company? Like foam mattress. Okay, uniform, mocha, and the rest of them. So there was a time, 1 or 2 times I've been to his office to do other deals with him. Now he keeps telling me about how his boys, because he's an Igbo man, so he doesn't call boy. Let me just use that word, please, if you know what I'm saying. That's a trainee that learns the trade and later he settles them. No, because why? They go diabolical and do a lot of things to embezzle their money. So they call those indigenous persons that they train, give them different shops. He opens outlets and give them phones. So he give them the company price. So they keep bringing back the money. Do you understand? And he keeps auditing and checking out. But sometimes he wouldn't go to the shop to see for himself what is actually there. So anytime he does, like in 3 months' time or so, he realized that the person he has given goods of like 10 million naira worth of goods. It's not that he gave him that 10 million naira worth of goods and he keeps being there alone. He keeps appropriating it to. Once they bring money, the person will say, I need like 5 of this again. And so when he then goes to do auditing now, to check everything from the paper and to reconcile it to what is in stock, he now realized that about a whooping 5 million naira, 3 million naira, 2.something million naira or worth of goods is not going on. And the person is coming every day to present money, showing that yes, everything is in order. Now, he has series of these cases, 1, 2, 3, 5 of them. Money, millions of naira in police station. Now you see the family members coming, begging, saying that they will pay overtime. How would you pay overtime when your salary is just like 70,000 naira, 50,000 naira? How would you pay overtime? It still goes back to the Nigeria factor. So, honestly, you have said it right. I just pray that at the end of the day, our leaders, our so-called boys that I call leaders, leaders that I call boys, I just pray that they know what they are doing, because it is getting too late. It is getting too late for Nigerians. Seriously, it is getting too late for Nigerians. So thank you very much. Let me just don't really bore too much of words. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I think somebody's hand is up. I can see a hand up.
Yeah. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to add, so that we don't lose track of what has been said so far. It was such an amazing session. And I, being someone that has been in business full-time for over 11 years, I could resonate with almost everything that you had said. And, you were just practically hitting all the right notes for me. But based on what the 2 commenters have said, I would like to add something more like an addition. I understand that there is a Nigerian system, and the Nigerian system, unfortunately, did not start now. I'm almost 40 years, and I have heard the Nigerian system almost all my life, but it has never stopped anybody from building a scalable business. So it is really important for us to understand that I get we have the issues of our leaders, which is also one of the main issues we have in Nigeria, because we also need, a country that has systems in place to encourage people to grow. But in a system where there is no opportunity to grow through the economy or through the government, you first of all need to put your house in check. The systems, I know you did mentioned, has to do a lot with putting your inner house in order. I have seen so many people, even in my line of business, who just do things and leave things carelessly. There is always going to be room, no matter how good a system is, even for the banking system. As amazing as the banking system is and as tight as it is, you still see staff who, commit fraud within the capacity that they can. Some very little, some very huge. Some goes on for a very long time before it's being detected. But the overall system is the reason why those banks have not folded up, because one particular person committed a fraud. So if we put this system in place, it's not going to totally eradicate leakages, but what it is going to do is reduce the amount of leakages that goes out. Now, those people that are doing these things to your business, to your company, are not going to be there forever. There is this adage that every day for the thief and one day for the owner. And those people over time, which is the attitude he was talking about, cannot grow even personally. Because even if you misappropriate somebody else's business, in the long run, you're not going to steal forever. You would also want to build something scalable for yourself. So if everybody understands the idea of whatever you do comes back to you, generally in life, everybody would do better. So before we even talk about the government, we need to talk about individually just having integrity. Just like one of the commenters mentioned, is one person at a time. Sometimes I know we have a government issue, but when I see what Nigerian individuals do across the world, it's very, it's something to be ashamed about. So we just need to understand that individually, we need to build ourselves personally to grow as an individual, to be able to see opportunities and also take advantage of opportunities when they come. And integrity wise, make sure that when those opportunities drop on our table, we do not, out of lack of integrity, lose what would be a scalable option or a scalable business for us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Just to quickly finalize, excuses, there's always room to give excuse, right? But in that excuse, you see some people still finding a way to move forward, right? I know Nigeria is challenged, but we still have to find a way. You do your own part, sort your house in order, and you over time you begin to get, because we still have a lot of people of integrity in Nigeria. So many people, so many good people, right? So if you try to put your house in order, eventually you begin to find one or two of those kind of people, because human beings are who they are, even in the most advanced society. So let's try to find a way to sort our own area out, and I'm sure with time you begin to get the right kind of staff you need, the right kind of mind you need, but also ensure that on your own part you are doing, just check, like I said, the attitude wall. Check it. The manner, the way you handle stuff might just be part of the issue. You never know. So it's important that we also try to handle our own part. And there are so many good people. They might just be teachable. They might not have the exact experience you want, but at least they are moldable. So there are still a lot of many more good people in Nigeria than bad, of course, by far. So let's not be discouraged. Let's also keep pushing. We'll get the right people. I know what you're talking about, but people are doing it, even in the same economy. Thank you. So I'm sure everybody's, any other question before we just round up? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time. This is a Saturday, very busy Saturday for people, Owambe, and some people just want to sleep at home. So thank you for giving me this time. I really appreciate it, So we'll see in the next session. Thank you all. Have a nice day. Bye.